guard against chaos.
Of the aspects. I require every last suffused ingot and molded metal for our bargain with Barak. Do not let these thieves interfere!
What brings you here? It's always good to meet someone
Azuna was once the center of magic research.
Oh, such an unusual visitor.
Watch all. Watch all.
It's too far away. I need to get closer. I'm out of range.
Watch all.
I don't have a target.
Watch all.
I need to target something first.
Watch all. Watch all. Watch all.
Five, four, three, two, one.
His powers
Bomb
are
incoming.
mine to command.
AOE incoming.
Bend to me and break.
Knocking back.
Your resistance weakens.
It's too far away.
Breath incoming.
I need a target.
Bomb incoming.
Generation.
Breath incoming. Watch your feet. AOE incoming.
Power surges.
I need to get
The
closer.
darkness bends to me.
Stack high. Stack high. Teleport on you.
To the endless dark and despair.
Phase 2.
Scale of the universe. You are
Breath incoming.
I'm out of range.
Watch your step. Bomb incoming.
is mine to command.
Watch your feet. Watch your feet. Stack high. Watch your feet. Stack high. Teleport on you.
Endless dark and despair.
Breath incoming.
I need a target.
Watch your step.
I will make the world real.
It's too far away.
Phase 3. Watch your step.
Witness my ascension! The light of a dying star.
Watch your step. Watch your step.
My ascension!
Watch your feet.
Burn in the light of a dying star.
Watch your step.
What is this foul place?
It feels as though it is somewhere beyond, teeming with raw, dark energy.
Sarkareth lost himself to his pursuit of power. Now what will happen to my people?
Is this the fate of all who pursue his legacy?
Zakali! Crush these puppets of the aspects! I require every last suffused ingot and molded metal for our bargain with Barak. Do not let these thieves interfere!
I don't have a target. I'm out of range. To target something first. I need a target. It's too far away. I need to get closer. I'm out of range. It's too far away. I need to target something first. I'm out of range. I don't have a target.
Who might you be?
target.
My apprentice! I will see you avenged!
It's still recharging. I can't use that item yet.
Master of the Forge! Slay these lesser creatures yourself and recover what they have stolen! Zakali! You have been made to look weak! Do not make me send more of these soft primalists to aid you!
I need to get closer.
I would like it if that was actually a two-handed sword. Oh well. What else do we have to do here? Anything? Portals. Rock is almost up too. That should be most of my quest.
I fear that grandfather doesn't have much time.
Thank you. Oh, is this how you put out the fires? I guess. Hold on. So you have to have this bubble. Then you put out the fires like this. Hold on. Oh, I see. Okay. That's different, huh? Can you put out the fires with just walking on them? Yes. Okay, then maybe that's better. Why is that not counting? Am I still on that quest? 85%. Oh. Good job. Anything else? I think the last thing is actually for Rack or Kraken. Something. Something.
Well now, you're certainly different.
It's not ready yet.
Hmm. Did you get anything else? I don't think so. I can probably upgrade some of my gear, though. This one's already upgraded all the way. My chest piece is what I want upgraded right now, but there are some 411 things. Like this 408 ring I really want to replace with like a PvE ring or something, so I can upgrade it or something. I can't upgrade it because I don't do arenas or anything. 90%, I think we can wait. No music though. Last night I got my stream shut down because of a certain song. Sadly. That's what I get for being cocky. I was like, nah, I don't need to heal. No.
You dare to steal from my crucibles? I am coming for you,
What is
little
this,
worms. You will
fishing
perish
holes?
in flames.
Oh, Farrak, or Kraken, whatever his name is here, I think. Eventually. What's his name? I don't remember. What the heck? Really? never understood this. Like, why did they make Farrakh the guy we're supposed to fight, but he sends like his minion? And, like, I don't understand. Like, do we ever actually fight him? Or is that like an upcoming raid or something? Damn. So his disciple comes up where? There he is. Okay, so he just comes down randomly. Oh, his name is different. This isn't Kraken. This is Shadow's Hall or something. Shadow Sethal. Shaday Sethal.
It's too far away.
Watch out for that big time.
It's still recharging. I need to get closer.
Mm.
I'm out of range. I need to get closer. I'm out of range. It's too far away. I can't attack that thing. I'm out of range. I need to get closer.
What happened? There he goes. Sorry, the animation. It's all messed up. Was it then? Mm-hmm. I don't think you need to return that. Yeah. Okay, well, it's not. It's probably easier to just Earth. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I didn't get anything worthwhile. Sadly. Well, pretty common. Actually, it seems like every week I don't get anything. It takes a long time to get your gear to go up. Mm-hmm.
Best goods in the Isles.
Sell junk, upgrade. Well, I have pants and a belt for 11, or I can do my chest. My chest I can increase to actually level 421, or I can do my belt to level 418, or my pants to level 418. What level is the chest go to? 421. I'll just do the chest, sorry. Yeah. Most stats increase.
The city awaits.
Not much item level increase though, which I figured that would be the case. But it's nice to have the high level stuff on the left side. That's what I think anyway, I don't know. It's tough. I see you focused on your left side, yes. May not have been the right choice, but it's okay. I'm trying hard to catch up. I have to get to 440. I know, right? Like, seriously, it's not easy. So takes a lot of work. A lot of questing, a lot of fight stones, a lot of weeklies, a lot of raiding. I'm not doing much PvP though. I don't really mind not doing PvP. I don't really want to. I like the comp stomps though. Yeah, those are fun. It's gear appropriate for honor gear. You just need the 366 gear, and you're pretty much set. Yep, and that's easy to get. That gear is very easy to get. I'll commend Warcraft for that, but it's pretty much worthless still nonetheless. Conquest gear is the only PvP gear that's actually worth it. Most of the time it requires you to get like a high level rating in arena or rated battlegrounds, and it's like, oh boy. With blue gear, my god, in today's climate, you know what I mean? Like, seriously, mostly everybody already got their conquest gear, so it's like, you expect me to trust Blizzard to match me with equivalent gear to folks. Yeah, right. I'm not gonna play that where I get stumped by people who have more gear than I do. You know? And have been playing longer than me. I don't want to go through that. It's just not fair to me. It feels like shit. Even if you get through the other side, somehow managing to get through that and actually getting a decent rating and getting all your conquest gear and upgrading it, it doesn't even matter. Because in the end, it won't even matter. It'll just be like shit. Like, because of that process you have to go through, it makes you feel like shit. It doesn't go away though. The feeling like you're a shitty person or a shitty player doesn't go away. It stays. So it's not worth it. Like, you feel like a shitty person just to play PvP? No, it's not worth it. You have to start at the beginning of your goddamn expansion. That's the only way you can actually feel like a decent player. Huh? What's this rumble stuff here in Org? I don't know. Everybody's on a relatively decent level playing field at the beginning of the expansion. Except for those who are like incredibly well off, better than you from prior expansions. There's still that. Yes. Like money-wise, gear-wise. They still have a leg up on some people. It's just the way it is in this game, so real life. Yep. They say life's not fair. That's true, neither is this game. Neither is any game. Have any of the MMOs or free-to-play games ever been fair? No. Not really. I don't know any games that are like online only that are fair. I don't know any of them. It's just like real life. Nobody cares. Yeah, that's true. Nobody cares. The politics of life. Thank you. That sucks.
You're late. Oh, different timeline. Pleasant spending time.
Hmm. I don't know. Hmm. What's that? Hmm. What was that? Oh, where are those? Do you see that anywhere? Oh no. Oh, I see how that works. Yeah. No. Hmm. Might sell that.
This is your time.
Oh. It's soulbound? Hold on. Find. That's fine.
I will see you again.
Interesting. Glad I could help.
It's too far away.
We stand as one.
I'm out of range.
We will shape our destiny.
Be good.
Aspect's grace shine down on you.
Welcome, friend.
The Isles have
It's too far away.
Our flight has much to offer. Come see me again.
I need to get closer.
This is an NBC News special report. Here's Lester Holt.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're coming on the air with breaking news and a major shift in power on Capitol Hill. The House just voted to remove Speaker Kevin McCarthy from his post in a high-stakes vote just now on the House floor. It comes after McCarthy, the top Republican, cut a deal with Democrats to avert a government shutdown over the weekend that angered some in his own party whose demands were dropped in the negotiations. It happened because one of those Republicans, Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz, introduced the resolution to remove McCarthy just last night. And it's the first time this process has ever successfully removed a House Speaker in American history. Let's go right now to senior Capitol Hill correspondent Garrett Haake. Garrett, what happens now?
Lester, a speakership that began in historic fashion less than a year ago now ends in historic fashion, with Kevin McCarthy the first speaker to ever be removed from that position by a vote on the floor. What we'll see in the immediate term is the naming of a speaker pro tem, a temporary speaker, a caretaker speaker who will lead the House through the next election to replace Kevin McCarthy and select someone else to be second in line for the presidency. This could be a contentious process as well. The speaker lost 8 Republican votes, along with every Democrat voting to vacate the chair. Who could succeed him in this climate right now? Very much an open question. The House will be largely paralyzed until that question can be answered, Lester.
Is there a timeline for them to get this done?
Lester, we are in uncharted territory. It's cliche to say, but we have never been in this position before in the United States Congress. The House will move quickly. This Speaker pro tem idea is actually a new post-9/11 change to ensure continuity of government. So we are very much in uncharted territory, but it is every indication that the House, Republicans still control it, will want to move quickly to name someone as their leader so they can continue the business of governing. Remember, they only have some 40-odd days to fund the government on a longer-term basis after that deal from over the weekend.
All right, Garrett, we'll let you continue to work the story. Let me turn to our Meet the Press moderator, Kristen Welker. Garrett put it pretty well, uncharted territory right now. So what does this mean going forward in terms of the mechanism of government? And that other question, who would want this job now?
Well, that is the big question, and you saw Representative Patrick McHenry, who was standing there. He's a real ally of Speaker McCarthy. He's one of the names that has been floated about. But I think big picture, Lester, it really highlights the deep divisions within the Republican Party right now. The fact that this is happening after that showdown over trying to keep the government open. And the question becomes, what does happen next? Look, I've been talking to Republicans who are expressing frustration about what they're seeing on Capitol Hill. The fact that this is going on against the backdrop of 2024. They say, look, to the point that Garrett was just making, they only have a matter of days to try to get another deal to keep the government open. Moderate Republicans want to see deep spending cuts. They say all of this that's occurring right now on Capitol Hill is taking attention away from the critical work that needs to be done in that regard. Think about our polling, Lester, if you want to pull back the curtain just a little bit more. It shows Republicans getting high marks on things like the economy, and I think the question and the concern within the Republican Party is activity on Capitol Hill, what GOP candidate Mike Pence has described as chaos, by the way, today. Will that take away from those high marks that they are getting? And from the perspective of the voters, they are looking at a series of somewhat chaotic events. The standoff over the debt ceiling, the
AOE incoming
shutdown, the GOP frontrunner who's facing 4 indictments. So the big question, could this mar them heading into 2024?
All right, Kristen, thank you. For more, let's bring in our senior Washington correspondent, Hallie Jackson. Hallie, I'm interested in hearing your thoughts about the way forward and what this symbolizes for future speakers.
Well, right now, let's do short-term, long-term, Lester, because right now, the word that comes to mind
Breath
is
incoming.
paralysis, because that is what is happening in the House of Representatives until this gets sorted out. Garrett sort of made a joke, and I smiled a bit, uncharted territory. Get ready to hear those 2 words a heck of a lot over the course of the next several days, weeks, who knows how long, because that is where
AOE
we are.
incoming.
We don't know if now former Speaker Kevin McCarthy is going to try to run for the speakership again. We know it took him 15 votes to get it the first time. Might he try to throw his hat in the ring? Will there be other names as you
Breath incoming.
come forward on this part? And keep in mind the sheer drama, political frankly, of what we just saw, Lester, inside the Beltway. Like, we just don't see, right? It says something about our institutions. It says something about what the new normal is right now on Capitol Hill. In
Knocking
Congress,
back.
there was an opportunity there. There was a chance that Democrats could have maybe bailed out Kevin McCarthy even, and they made the decision, that party did, that they were going to let Kevin McCarthy sleep in the bed that he made. And why do I say that? Because the deal that got Kevin McCarthy the speakership in the first place was this, that it only would
AOE
take one
incoming.
vote to bring up this motion, very procedural thing, to potentially kick him out of office. From the very beginning, almost a year ago now, not even a year ago, the question had really
Breath
not
incoming.
been if somebody would try to use that motion to kick him out. It was a function of when. Well, we now know the when piece of it after this deal to avoid a shutdown essentially was struck over the weekend. It could have been any number of things, and I would say that's also just the tip of the iceberg for some of these ultra-conservative Republicans who have long not wanted to see
AOE incoming.
So that's the short-term thing. As we're looking at these extraordinary images, the Speaker Pro Tem of the House of Representatives running things, recess now as Republicans are scrambling to
Target
figure out a
you.
way forward. And keep in mind those speeches that we saw, Lester, right? It was Republican versus Republican. This was not something that involved sort of both sides in the aisle, as we often talk about and often hear about here in Washington.
Breath incoming.
This is, I think, the Republican ideological fight, the battle royale that is unfolding in that party writ large in several ways here. Longer term wise, listen, I think we've got to look at the way that American people view the institution here. There is a process.
AOE incoming.
You've heard a lot about, from McCarthy allies, about this process essentially being undermined. And you heard anger, fiery anger from some of McCarthy's allies on the floor that, this is political
Breath incoming.
gamesmanship. The question that perhaps those like Congressman Gates are doing this to raise money, to raise their profiles, if you will. So all of it, let me go back to sort of where we started here. Uncharted territory, Lester, no kidding. That's where we are, and that's where we're going to be for a bit.
Yeah, we're seeing the pictures
Knocking
of the
back.
players. Matt Gaetz, who was the one that pulled the political trigger on this, he was talking to reporters on Capitol Hill. We'll hear more from him, I suspect. Let me bring in...
Well, the stages of grief, I think, are in flight.
Let's listen to a little of this.
A stage of denial and
AOE incoming.
a good amount of their anger, and now we appear to be headed toward bargaining. I think the world of Steve Scalise. I think he'd make a phenomenal speaker.
Has anyone spoken to you? We've got less than 45.
Breath incoming.
I'm afraid of $33 trillion in debt crushing the working people in my district. I'm afraid of the dollar losing its status as the global reserve currency. If they want to expel me, let me know when they have their
Has anyone talked about that with you? Days left before we got less than 45 days left.
All right, we're listening to Matt Gaetz again.
AOE incoming.
Trigger started the mechanism that led to today's ouster of the now outgoing
We've heard you say you're a fighter so many
Republican
times.
leader. He's going to walk past camera to see if Kevin McCarthy is going to make any comments as he leaves the chamber. Matt Gaetz continue to talk. Let me bring in Chief White House Correspondent Peter Alexander. Peter, what's the view from the White House?
Whether or not President Biden is watching the events as they've been taking place on Capitol Hill, but I can tell you that I saw some of his senior aides glued to their televisions watching what's going on right here. The White House is really casting this as a split-screen moment, effectively saying that while President Biden is focused on delivering for the American people, the extreme, in their words, House Republicans are effectively in disarray right now. The president today announcing what is a historic moment in its own right, that for the first time in its 60-year history, Medicare would be negotiating with 10 drug manufacturers to try to bring down prices for things like Eliquis and all sorts of different prescription drugs that many Americans are familiar with right now, while the Republicans were fighting among themselves. I'm struck as we watch what's taking place on the Hill, Lester, by a big headline only a matter of maybe a decade ago. They celebrated, Republicans did, the new generation of conservative leaders, the young guns as they were described. Paul Ryan, Eric Cantor, and Kevin McCarthy. Paul Ryan no longer in Congress. Eric Cantor included as well. Kevin McCarthy, now a historic figure, becoming the first House Speaker to lose his position by a vote of this kind. So just another example of how, at least in the eyes of the White House, and frankly, for anybody watching right now, the real challenge is continuing to exist for this Republican Party that has been feuding among itself and obviously among itself. And obviously Donald Trump's role in all of this. Donald Trump, who you'll remember only a matter of a couple weeks ago was saying that House Republicans should shut down the government if they couldn't get the deal that they wanted. Well, the shutdown was averted. Kevin McCarthy made sure that didn't happen, but ultimately it cost him his job.
All right, Peter Alexander at the White House. Thank you. Let me go back to our senior Capitol Hill correspondent, Garrett Haig. Garrett, it's not lost on anyone that Democrats were in a position to save McCarthy's job, and they made the collective decision not to. What's the blowback, potential blowback, the effect on Democrats?
Well, Lester, we'll see where this lands when a new speaker is ultimately chosen, but Democrats felt like they owed Kevin McCarthy nothing, and frankly, he made no effort to even approach them in any serious manner to save his speakership. In fact, in this caucus meeting Democrats held this morning, where they discussed and debated how they would respond to this motion, the Democratic leaders played a video of McCarthy on the Sunday shows this weekend attacking Democrats and suggesting it was Democrats who drove the country to the edge of a government shutdown this week, knowing full well that he would need those Democratic votes if he wanted to remain in power. For some Democratic lawmakers, that was a last straw. They never trusted Kevin McCarthy, not based on any of his recent behavior, his role in the negotiating of the debt ceiling deal, for example, that he immediately backed away from. But even going back farther than that, his actions after January 6th, where he condemned Donald Trump on the floor, then traveled to Mar-a-Lago to court his support, where he undercut a bipartisan commission to investigate the 6th that he himself had asked to be created. Democrats felt like this was not a choice between the lesser of two evils. This was someone who was basically in league with the same forces who had now turned against him. And so there wasn't really much of a choice. McCarthy and the speakership was Republicans' problem, and Democrats would vote as a bloc to basically say, we don't want this guy. Solve your own problem, Republicans. That's the choice they've made, and we'll see how that plays out in the longer term when a new speaker is chosen, Lester.
Yeah, was it ever clear the number and what kind of deals that were made for him to get the job in the first place?
This has always been a question, Lester, and perhaps we'll get a better answer now that he is no longer the speaker. The conservative faction of House Republicans said that a variety of deals were made, including placing some of their members on the Rules Committee, which controls what bills come to the floor. That spending bills, for example, like the ones we've been debating over the last couple months, would be brought up on an individual basis rather than in a big group all before Christmas, as is often the case. But there were also conservative members who said there were other deals that were made, side deals on various policy positions or guaranteeing votes on various issues. McCarthy never formally confirmed any of that publicly. No paper was ever produced to confirm those deals. But it's that lack of trust that I think contributed to the position McCarthy's in now. I think about someone like Nancy Mace, who is a member who has been at times allied with McCarthy, but who's repeatedly said how frustrated she was that she couldn't count on him to keep his word with her. She was a surprise yes vote to replace McCarthy today.
And I assume there's great pressure, obviously, to get things worked out and back on track as quickly as they possibly can.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the great ironies of all this.
Target you.
Whoever the new speaker is, and whether they're chosen today or a week from now or 3 weeks from now, will have to deal with all the same problems this speaker did. I just interviewed one of the House Republicans who voted against McCarthy, who was explaining to me his frustration with the mounting debt in this country and the spending bills being as large as they are. And I asked him, is that going to change with a new speaker? And he said, probably not.
Run.
We have to try. So we could very much find ourselves in a similar position with a new speaker in the not-too-distant future, Lester.
Garrett Haig, thanks very much. That concludes our special report. Much more ahead in our streaming network, NBC News Now. And I'll see you tonight with more on NBC Nightly News. For now, I'm Lester Holt in New York. Good day. Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.
Joining me now is Virginia Democratic Congressman Jerry Connolly. Congressman, take us inside the House Democratic meeting this morning. There were some members initially, as I understand it, who were open to blocking the motion to vacate yesterday. What did Leader Jeffries say to get you all on the same page this morning?
I think it was really less what Leader Jeffries said than the whole conversation.
Watch your step.
We reminded ourselves about the issues that surround
Phase 2.
McCarthy as Speaker. How he got to be Speaker, how he said the right things on January 6th, only to turn around 2 weeks later and genuflect at Mar-a-Lago and became Super MAGA. tried to prevent the January 6th committee from even meeting or considering the events, tragic events of that day and what followed. And of course, taking 15
AOE incoming.
votes to become speaker and making promises that really depleted
Target
the
you.
value of the speakership with every round, and then not keeping those promises. And so there were issues of integrity, issues of performance that were of concern not only to Democrats, but to the Republicans.
Congressman, as I understand it, there was an actual tape that was played at this meeting of Speaker McCarthy essentially trashing Democrats. Is that how you would describe it?
AOE incoming.
Is that correct? And
yes.
Tell me about that moment. Is that what did it?
I don't know. I think it goes in political 101 textbooks going forward as maybe one of the most crashingly stupid things somebody could do on the eve of your survival vote. Certainly by Sunday, when Kevin McCarthy went on Face of the Nation, he knew that the only chance he had
AOE incoming.
his speakership was with Democratic support, tacit or otherwise, to thoroughly trash the Democrats for providing the overwhelming support for the continuing resolution that he supported and put on the floor Saturday was a huge misstep and could only, frankly, clarify the thinking of anybody who was considering wavering on his behalf.
AOE incoming.
How do you see the next few days playing out?
Target you.
Well, we are organized. So that makes it different than, say, a new Congress lacking a speaker as we did in January. So there'll be a temporary speaker.
Phase 3.
And we will have to have another series of votes to elect a new speaker. And with the removal of Kevin McCarthy, I think the contours of, well, what does that entail are going to have to be debated. Will we have some kind of power sharing? Will we, in fact, have a broad bipartisan coalition that elects a speaker who's more bipartisan? Or will we, in fact, go the narrow partisan road again, leading to more instability? That's an open question yet to be decided.
Congressman, is that realistic? Any sort of power sharing agreement? If you couldn't get that with Speaker McCarthy, what makes you think you could get that with
Find shelter.
I think that's a fair question, and I think it's probably a long shot. But I think we could never get that with the vacancy. With a new speaker, there can be the opportunity for some fresh air and fresh looks at how we operate and how we're structured. I think Democrats are not unrealistic about the set of considerations and demands we may put forward. But that doesn't mean
Find shelter.
we aren't entitled to some pretty important
Find
changes
shelter.
in how we behave around here, how we're structured, what the rights of the minority would be. And I think that would be a very healthy thing for the institution
Target
to
you.
examine and maybe reconsider.
How do you explain to your constituents, Congressman, what's going on right now?
Well, I'm blessed with a very well-informed electorate in suburban Washington, many of whom have worked up here or are
Find shelter.
So my constituents are, laser focused on what happens up here. Will the government shut down was everybody's mind over the weekend, and now everybody looking at what's happening on the Republican side of the aisle. This dysfunction and chaos really raises questions in their minds about
Congressman, walk me through your decision process over the last couple of days. You said, from what you just told me, that it was Speaker McCarthy's interviews over the weekend trashing Democrats that largely, sealed his fate. Was there at any moment, at any time in the last few days, where you even considered saving Kevin McCarthy?
Whether I did?
Yes.
No. No, I have real clarity about that. It's not personal, but I think there are real integrity issues with respect to Speaker McCarthy. He's done a volte-face and about-face on numerous issues. I mentioned January 6th, but he did the same on the debt ceiling agreement. The ink wasn't even dry when he breached the agreement that he signed and shook hands on with the president, with us. And then, of course, he did the same thing on impeachment. He was the loudest critic of the previous impeachment of President Trump, saying that's got to come to the floor of the House for a full vote. And yet he turns around and directs unilaterally an impeachment inquiry based on no evidence. It's a fishing expedition. So he broke his word there too. And of course we hear numerous stories on the other side of the aisle of his making promises to this or that faction only to frankly breach them and break his word. I think you can't operate that way. I think your word's got to be a bond around here. And I think we need that fresh start. So I never had any illusions. I might add one more thing. Frankly, Kevin McCarthy is a conservative Republican. He's antithetical to the values and the agenda that I, as a progressive Democrat, hold dear, and most of my colleagues. And we needed to remember that what would be the purpose of preserving him as Speaker, given his record?
See all Veldraken has to offer.
And Congressman Connolly, one final question. And for those viewers just joining us, these are live pictures of this vote. The House, the Speaker of the House, a historic moment in the House of Representatives. Congressman Connolly of Virginia, there's some talk of Democrats reaching out to moderate Republicans about forming a coalition to elect a new Speaker that would govern potentially more smoothly from the middle. What do you think about that? Is that realistic?
May I serve you again?
Probably not, but it's worth a try. Let me just say, if you look at certain votes, the debt ceiling vote, the continuing resolution vote Saturday, the votes on Ukraine aid, there's a broad middle in the House, huge majority, well over 300 people in that category. So allowing them to come together and run things smoothly and make things work would make a lot of common sense. Our partisan lines preclude that. Maybe with the removal of Speaker McCarthy and the election of a new Speaker, we might have a fresh start at that.
Congressman Connolly of Virginia, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.
You'll find nothing.
can't use that. I can't use that.
Got the best deals anywhere. Got me. Cha-ching!
Strength and honor. May your blades never dull. Mogra!
I got a deal for you. I got what you need. Can I lighten that coin purse for you? I ain't got it, you don't want it. I got a new ship.
Zug zug.
I know I'll buy you when I see one. Oh, you drive a hard one.
We protect the Isles. Honor all dragons.
The Isles have awakened.
Sibelian, as my blood, I look to you to inherit. But know there are many who would steal your birthright. Even now, Jarden forces use the chaos to launch an assault.
Too far away.
They must be stopped.
I will not yield any ground.
I don't have a target. I need to get closer. I need a target. I'm out of range. I need to target something first.
Interrupt.
I need to get closer. It's too far
Interrupt.
away. I don't have a target. I need a target. I don't have a target. I need a target. I'm out of range. I need to target something first.
That's very good luck right there. That's got to be worth at least 10,000 gold. Very happy. Freaking awesome. I like when I get epic drops with BOE. I get them a lot actually, but maybe they're not worth that much. Maybe they're common, I don't know. That purple 402 gear. Gotta be worth some money.
I don't have a target.
Careful. Are we actually starting right now? Yeah, apparently. Okay. I never knew that side. I only found this side.
It's too far away.
Big ad.
These guys under control. Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Big ad.
My DPS has not increased very much since getting all this gear and stuff. Just seems to take a while.
Big ad.
I don't know what
Watch
I
your
need.
step.
Hopefully just more gear. I think my spec is fine. I like what I have.
Big ad.
Maybe it's my video card.
Big ad.
That's true. And sometimes I do lag. I don't know. Maybe not though. That might not be the problem. I could use a new video card or CPU to be
Big
honest.
ad. Watch your step.
Very nice.
I need to get closer.
That's sad. That's bad news. Literally, I'm not doing good in my class.
Big ad.
I'm in office management, and I'm feeling, well, I'm at 60%. And I didn't expect it to be this hard, and I'm not trying hard enough, to be honest. I'm not focusing on studying I didn't think, see, I feel like I got deceived. And I don't like the class.
Big
I want to
ad.
take a different one.
Watch
But
your
they don't-
step.
They don't want to let me take a different one because the other ones are longer, apparently. This one's apparently short. But if
At
I
least
fail it,
for now, okay.
what's the point?
So, Garrett, walk
Right.
us through the hypotheticals
Sorry.
here. What happens in either
Phase
scenario
2.
if this motion to vacate fails or succeeds? What happens next? Who would occupy the seat?
Sure. So if McCarthy can make the math work somehow, and I don't know how he could, to defeat this motion to vacate, That's it, at least for the day. But the way the House rules are currently written, Matt Gaetz or anyone else could file another motion to vacate basically every day, and we could go through this entire exercise over and over again while the rules remain what they are. But if the motion succeeds, McCarthy is immediately out as Speaker, and a Speaker pro tem would be put in his place, a temporary Speaker, ironically selected by McCarthy. Then at some point, and it's not entirely clear when, but soon, we'd begin that entire laborious process again of selecting a Speaker, someone having to get to a majority, and boy, it's tough to see how that math works either, with the chamber so narrowly divided and Republicans so divided amongst themselves.
And Garrett, just to clarify, what we're seeing on the screen right now, we were showing numbers on the screen, that is not the vote yet.
No, this is the first vote in a series, a procedural vote related to another bill, has nothing to do with this, except it will tell us one thing that could be important later. It'll tell us who's here today. The column on the right of not voting, if people are out sick today or if they're absent, that could change the math. The numbers could be so close that somebody who's stuck in traffic or out with a sick kid could affect the totals today.
All right, Garrett Haake, I know you will stay on top of it. We'll come back to you if we hear anything dramatic. Thank you. Thanks so much. Former President Donald Trump is back in a New York courtroom.
What I was saying was, they put the assignments are like at 5 points, right? And you think 5 points is not worth very much, but it's not be a very important assignment, right? But then it turns out they base 50% of your grade on those 5-point assignments. Oh my god. I know, and I only find this out now. And so I'm like taking these like they're not serious, right? I'm like, oh, this is just filler for the main point of the class, right? Okay, so anyway.
Such a pity.
And I don't even want to do it. Like this class, I don't even want to do. Like my heart of hearts, I don't care. But I want my diploma. And it's like frustrating because I'm probably going to fail this class. I don't like it. And then it's like, what other class can I take? And it's like, well, the other ones are apparently longer, and that's okay, but if I can understand it, pass it, that's what matters. You know? Yeah. So, I don't know. I only need 4 credits right now. I'm almost done. It's always like this. Why is it always like this in my life? Oh. Someone's AFK? Oh, we have to wait 18 seconds. Yeah, I'm not enjoying this, but I want to get my diploma. You guys go ahead. You kick him. Mocha kick has failed. Okay. I tried to res him. He didn't answer. When I go, I don't know. I don't want to leave the group. We'll be all right. Tanks get him into middle before 100 energy.
All who serve the aspects shall burn! Sear flesh!
It's too far away.
Watch your feet. Help soak.
On this vote, the yeas are 218, the nays are 207. The previous question is ordered. The question is on adoption of the resolution. Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. Opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. Gentlelady from Pennsylvania.
Help soak.
Mr. Speaker, we would request a roll call vote on the rule.
Roll call vote is requested. Those favoring a roll call vote will rise. Sufficient number having risen, A roll call vote is ordered. Members will record their votes by electronic device. This is a 5-minute vote.
Help soak.
The volcano hungers. Sear flesh.
Shockwave.
Watch your feet.
I need to get closer.
My rage cannot be quelled.
It's too far away. I'm out of range. I need to get closer.
Fire claims all.
Help soak.
The volcano hungers.
A healer died. Hold on. I can help.
I need to target
He already got
Help
res.
soak.
That's fine.
The volcano hungers. Fire claims all.
It's too far
My
away.
rage cannot be quelled.
Should be
I
alright.
need to get closer.
Yeah. Well, everybody died. Oh crap. We wiped. Maybe not. No, we wiped. This
Target
is a
you.
wipe. Is any of our tanks available?
Watch your feet.
Do you need a healer?
Help soak.
I think we're screwed. I don't think we can actually get through this, but who knows? What the heck? Why not?
I need a target.
The volcano hungers.
The healer did not respond to the res.
Help soak.
The volcano hungers.
I don't know if we can actually
Return to ash.
DPS this guy enough without wasting everyone's time massively. This might really waste everyone's time. My DPS is not that good.
Return to ash.
Help soak.
Yeah, we have trouble with this one a lot because of the damn taunting, and we're not doing good. Yeah,
Defensive.
we should wipe it.
Return to ash.
I'm trying to die right now.
Fire claims all.
Shockwave.
Return to was this all the dragons could muster?
It's fine, I think. We're okay.
Civilian.
Nobody's mad, right?
As my blood, I look to you to inherit. But
It's the
know
taunt.
there are many who would steal
People don't
your
know how to
birthright.
do it right.
Even
They're
now,
tanking.
Jaredin forces use the chaos to launch an assault. They must be stopped.
I will not yield any ground. You seem
Blingtron. Is it a broken one? No, it's a Blingtron 7000. Right on. A high-tech one. I don't think they know what that means. No. Food.
Process, but he refused to answer a question about whether he would continue to stand for Speaker if he lost this first vote. And why that matters here is after the motion to vacate vote, he could just as easily turn around and run for the job again and put us into another kind of 15-vote grind like we saw back in January, to try to if he could win folks back over. McCarthy likes to talk all the time about how he's a fighter and how he doesn't give up. And I think a lot of folks, myself included, expected him to say, yes, of course, I'll keep fighting, and asked twice variations of that question. He didn't answer that way. So if he does lose on this motion to vacate, perhaps that's the last of Speaker McCarthy and he won't put his name forward. It's tough to read between the lines here with any surety, but I was surprised by his answer to that question, Kate.
And Garrett, notably, this is only the third time a motion to vacate has really been presented in this way. I know you said we're still not sure who's in Congress today, right? Who has shown up to work. Right. But what's the overall tenor on the Hill right now?
Look, I think the word unprecedented has been worn out over the last 5 or 6 years, but we are in largely unprecedented circumstances here. This has been tried 3 times, but nobody alive has experienced it. The last time was in, I think, 1910. And it's never been done successfully as it looks like it might happen here. I mean, this morning I was standing outside this Democratic conference meeting, caucus meeting, for 2 hours as they discussed this incredibly historic moment. That's the feeling that is sort of overriding everything here today.
All right, Garrett Haake on Capitol Hill for us with that late-breaking news. Speaking to Speaker Kevin McCarthy, thank you so much. The little girl who went missing at a campsite in upstate New York over the weekend is home again. New York.
The volcano hungers. Return to ash. Fire claims all.
I'm out of range.
Help soak.
The volcano hungers. Fire claims all.
Shockwave.
Watch out, man. The healer almost died from that. But it's okay. Oh shit. You sure you don't stand in the lava? It goes away, you can move closer. Yeah.
Help soak.
The volcano hungers.
Help soak.
volcano hungers.
Target you. Help soak.
The volcano hungers. Fire claims all.
Shockwave.
Get the hell out of the way.
Watch your feet.
Right. That purple, dark, scary shit is something you don't want to see, Dave.
My rage cannot be quelled.
I'm out of range. It's too far away.
Almost done.
Fire claims all.
Help soak.
Pass. Pass.
Well done. The conduit
pass.
will remain dormant, though we need to restore it soon.
I want that for
Perhaps
myself.
there are fresh
Take it.
Jarden outside that you can harvest.
You expect me to... I will not.
I expected more of you, Sibelian. No matter.
One more boss.
Perhaps
I think.
Rathian will
Yeah.
have the resolve you lack.
I can't attack that target.
I'll let you know about that class. I don't know. I'm on my second module, and if I do well on the second module, I might raise my percentage in the class. But if it gets harder and I can't even do it, then obviously I'm not going to succeed in this class. Yes. I don't want to have to take it again. I'd rather just take the longer class that's easier. I don't know, like English or something. I'd rather write a report than do office management because I don't know. As much as I might want to work in an office job, I don't really care that much. You know, I don't know why I don't feel like I care right now. I don't know what to do. Oh, there's two more bosses. Yeah. This guy? No, he's not the last boss in this one, is he? I don't think so. Yeah, but go to raids, go to Dragonflight, and then go to Fury of the Giants. Yeah, he is the last one actually. There's only 3. Another thing that sucks is I just ran out of focus factor. The thing that makes me struggle in this class is because there's a lot of reading, and then you have to like pinpoint in the reading what part you need to memorize to answer the questions, to know which one is what, and you have to write it in perfectly. You have to write in the answer perfectly, as if my memory is that sharp. It's not. Multiple choice, please. I know. Anyway, that's what bothers me. There's a lot of reading, a lot of memorization. Like, what? Basically, I have to memorize like 20 pages of reading in order to answer the questions. And I don't know which part I need to memorize until I get to the question. So it's like, so much unnecessary work involved. Straining my brain. I don't even want to. You know? They could have simplified this and made it easier for people to be able to just skim through and then get the gist of what, you know, the question and answer is, and then get it done really quick and be over with it. Anyway. Oh well. And then there's more questions. Multiple choice. It's like, there's writing. Oh god. I don't like this.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Time to analyze your threshold for pain.
Not that I don't like learning. I like learning. I don't like when people intentionally make it hard for you. Right. To make you struggle. To me, it's
Watch
hard.
your step. Knocking back.
Your resilience to extreme temperatures.
And I have all this other crap going on in my life, and I'm just frustrated right now. Not mad, just frustrated. They made it like, it's sad because it seemed like, oh, this is gonna be easy. Finishing it this up, everything's gonna be easy. I'm gonna be done soon. And then it's like, oh, never mind. Oh, I'm gonna have a roadblock right in the way of getting my diploma. Cool.
Watch your step.
To new hazards.
Knocking back.
Your resilience to extreme temperatures.
Yeah.
Watch your step.
It makes me feel like they don't want me to get my diploma. Yeah. Like they've never wanted me to get my diploma. And it's been a long time. I do feel like some people don't want me to get my diploma in this world, and it's really frustrating to deal with that as well. Frustrating.
Watch your step.
To new hazards.
Knocking back.
Your resilience to extreme temperatures.
I sense the lack of love, and it bothers me.
Golems, your assistance is required.
No love for Daniel. Sad times for me.
Watch your step.
To new hazards.
This boss is easier than the other one.
Knocking back.
Your resilience to extreme temperatures.
Watch your step.
This should prove terminal.
Oh, someone died. We shall res him. Oh, he's out of range.
Watch your step.
To new hazards.
Knocking back.
Resilience to extreme temperatures. Golems, your assistance is required.
So where's that guy? Why is he out of range? Oh, the healer, Daniel. The healer. I can't.
Watch your step.
To new hazards.
Oh, he got rezzed already. This guy is probably definitely out of range. Yeah, unfortunately. I like that they gave Pallies a B-res. That's cool. But
watch your step. Knocking back.
Resilience to extreme temperatures.
I gotta be careful here. Get the hell out of there. Yeah. I'm lucky I'm alive, actually.
Watch your step.
You got a tank dead. Where's the tank?
I don't have a target.
On this vote, the yeas are 218, the nays are 208. The resolution is adopted. Without objection,
Knocking back.
motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
What is it?
For what purpose does the gentleman from Florida seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, I rise to a question of the privileges of the House and offer the resolution I previously noticed. Thank you.
The clerk will report the resolution.
House Resolution 757, resolved that the office of the Speaker of the House of Representatives is hereby declared to be
I gotta go
vacant.
get my coffee. I left it
The
there.
resolution qualifies as a question of the privileges of the House. For what purpose does the gentleman from Oklahoma seek
Go ahead and
recognition?
listen to this.
Motion to
Politics.
table at the desk.
The clerk will report the motion.
Mr. Cole of Oklahoma moves to lay the resolution on the table.
The question is on the motion to lay the resolution on the table. Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. Gentlelady from Pennsylvania.
Yes, we would request the yeas and nays on this vote.
The yeas and nays are requested. Those favoring a vote by the yeas and nays will rise. Sufficient number having risen, the yeas and nays are ordered. Members will record their votes by electronic device. This is a 15-minute vote.
Well, since it's only 7, I might do other raids. I don't normally do these ones, but maybe I'll do them for some flight stones or something, if they have any. What's up with the politics? I don't know. What's this? Oh, that's just this Rumble coin thing. I don't know what to do about it. Yeah, I'm gonna go back to Valdraken. That is possible. It's possible that the reason I'm failing these classes because of my lack of vitamins. That could be. You might need your vitamins. It's true. They do help. That mount. Which one? The pretty one. Which one? It's like the nether wing. This one. It is a grotto nether wing table. Do you mind if I ask how you get the nether wing cake? Come back. Are you still here? Yeah. Stop right there. What? Oh, it's a trading post reward? Hold on. I don't think I'm gonna have that available.
It's a great day for buying.
Do you have any cool flying mounts? I don't think so. That's sad.
Spirits bless
What's up?
you. Anything you want, I have.
Sure.
It's a good day for buying.
Nothing
Luck
else.
be with you.
What's in here? Oh. I got a crusty crawler. What now? Gold. Cool. What is it? Oh, cool! I got it. Rare crab. Where do you put it? Hey, does my regular mount look like a blue one? No. Oh, that's interesting. I like that. Yeah. Got a blue and a red one. That's cool. Alright, so I would get rid of Red Drake, I guess. What kind of sound did he make? Cool. He only has 4 feet.
You break it, you buy it.
I like that. Anyway, I did find something worth money, I hope. Yeah, that's good enough.
Come back anytime.
Of course, mine's
I
the
got what
cheapest
you
one.
need.
It's okay.
Hey, can I
News.
Breaking news tonight, the chaos at the Capitol. Republican Kevin House Speaker by members of his own party. McCarthy now the first speaker in history to be voted out. The showdown on the floor. The vote forced by Matt Gaetz, part of a small band of GOP hardliners angry with McCarthy for cutting a deal to avert a shutdown. With a slim majority, McCarthy needed Democrats' help to survive, but none coming to his rescue. So what happens now? Our team at the Capitol. Also tonight, the suspect arrested after a kidnapped 9-year-old was found alive. Police saying she was abducted while riding her bike at a New York campground. The clue that led police to her. The deadly pileup shutting down a highway in Arkansas. Was it caused by a massive fire burning nearby?
Target you. When you get
Former
kidnapped,
President Donald Trump
you're a
back in
kid,
court for
you're
his
done,
fraud
come back.
trial. The major ruling
Push
why
back
the
in.
judge has imposed a gag order on him. And will he testify? Hunter Biden pleading not guilty to federal gun charges while his attorney is lashing out at Donald Trump. The congressman carjacked at gunpoint in Washington.
Watch your step.
Search tonight for 3 suspects.
This is NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Good evening and welcome.
It's rare to
Breaking
hear
tonight,
that
Kevin McCarthy
someone actually
Watch
finds
your
a
step.
kid that got kidnapped. Honestly, I'm glad to hear that.
Has come to an end. The California Republican who until a few hours ago was second in line to the presidency was voted out of the speakership
No
this
idea
afternoon,
why someone kidnapped
9
her,
months
though.
after he was elected to the job. His
Why do
ouster
people do
came
this?
after key members of the
Push
narrow
back incoming.
Republican majority he presided over turned on him in a dramatic statement of no confidence. A final vote 216 to 210, with Democrats overwhelmingly joining dissatisfied Republicans in voting against him. The call for
Watch your
McCarthy's
step.
removal was instigated by Congressman Matt Gaetz just days after McCarthy made a deal with Democrats to
Watch
keep
your
the
step.
government open without deep spending cuts some Republicans wanted. Garrett Hake has been watching it all for us and has the latest.
Tonight, after an historic vote in the U.S. House, now former Speaker Kevin McCarthy returning to an office that is no longer his.
But
I can continue to fight, maybe in a different way. I will not
Push
run
back
for
and
Speaker
watch your
again.
feet.
The office of Speaker of the House of the United States House of Representatives is hereby declared vacant.
Acting on a motion by Florida Republican Matt
Why do they
Gaetz,
want to shut
8
down the
Watch your
government so
feet.
much?
joining with
Watch your
Democrats
step.
in voting to
This is not
vacate the
horrible.
position of Speaker for the first time ever, following an
It's
impassioned
been like
floor
this
debate.
for the past decade or so.
about Washington.
It's selfish, bad for conservative
Watch your
policies,
step.
and bad for America. That's why I strongly support Speaker Kevin McCarthy.
There's nothing selfish about wanting a Speaker of the House who tells the truth.
North Carolina Republican Patrick McHenry taking over as temporary Speaker.
The chair declares the House in recess,
Push back
subject
and
to the call of the chair.
Watch your feet.
Gaetz declaring victory.
It's the benefit of this country that we have a better Speaker of the House than Kevin McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy couldn't keep his word.
While McCarthy's allies heaped
You think it's for
scorn on
money?
Republican rebels
I think
for
it has to
dividing
do with
McCarthy.
money.
Matt Gaetz wants to wreak havoc and chaos within
Watch
the
your
Republican
watch your
Party.
step.
And he's doing just that. And unfortunately, the American people are pawns in his narcissistic
Target
game
you.
of charades.
The seed for Gaetz' challenge to McCarthy was planted in January, when the Florida
Push back and
firebrand was the last Republican holdout to oppose making McCarthy Speaker, eventually switching his vote to President on the 15th ballot. After McCarthy worked with Democrats to temporarily delay a government
Why did they want to
shutdown
shut
this
down the
weekend,
government so
Gaetz
bad?
vowed to try to remove him, with McCarthy saying
Watch your
today,
feet.
I think Matt's
Is it like
plan
a
was all wrong.
Watch your
Didn't
feet.
matter what
Power play?
projecting confidence even as he arrived for the vote.
I'm an optimist. There's no point in being anything else.
Oh.
The narrowly divided House left Democrats an opening. Would they intervene to save a leader many despise?
I guess I'll take those.
Nobody trusts Kevin McCarthy. Nobody trusts Kevin McCarthy, and why should we?
After a 2-hour meeting, the Democratic leader announcing they'd stay out of the GOP's civil war, but vote against McCarthy.
I am but an
And Garrett joins me now. Garrett, what happens now?
from attempting
So
to
what
punish
happens next?
The House has to select a new Speaker,
Democrats
and soon. But members have been told there are no more votes this week.
Want to stay out of the
Any new
Civil
Speaker
War,
would come
but
next
they're
week
against
as House
McCarthy?
Republicans try to plot a path
Why
forward for
is
their
everyone
fractured
against
party.
McCarthy?
Lester?
I don't know.
Garrett Haig, thank you. Let me bring in Kristen Welker now, the
What do you do?
moderator of Meet the Press. And Kristen, you've been talking with
knows?
Republicans all day
I don't
about the
care.
impact
No
of
one
all
cares.
Lester, that's right, and these extraordinary events expose deep divisions. Republicans who were opposed to removing McCarthy tell us it really imperils their conservative agenda. Now, former President Trump posted, quote, why is it that Republicans are always fighting among themselves instead of Democrats, while former Vice President Pence called all of this chaos. Lester, big picture, our latest NBC News poll shows the GOP with big advantages on issues like the economy, and there's real concern among Republicans that events like today could really hurt their chances in 2024. Lester.
Kristen Welker, thanks. Now to the remarkable rescue of a 9-year-old
They
girl
definitely
who
told
police
somebody.
say was
I
abducted
agree.
from her family while riding her bike. Kathy Park reports on how investigators were able to track down the suspect, now charged with kidnapping.
Tonight, 9-year-old Charlotte Senna back with loved ones after vanishing while riding her bike at an upstate New York park. In a statement, the family writing,
I'm
"We are
sad for
thrilled
my
that she is
GPS.
home, and
I
we
know.
understand that the outcome is not what
You
every
interrupt
family
that, I
gets."
don't know, I'm lacking
A
more
major
being
break
my
coming
GPS.
after a 2-day-long search when authorities tracked down 46-year-old Craig Nelson Ross Jr. after a ransom note was left at Charlotte's home. The intent? To get money, according to the arraignment memo.
You just want
Fingerprint was found.
That's okay.
That matched what was found on the ransom.
No, it's not acceptable.
Authorities
but
say
like,
that critical clue was linked to a 1999 DWI and allowed SWAT
Seems
teams to move in
relatively
on the
normal.
suspect's camper, roughly 20 miles
These
from where
days,
Charlotte was
yes.
last seen.
After some
People want
resistance, the suspect was taken into custody, and immediately the little girl was found in a
alive,
cabinet,
thankfully.
covered. She was rescued. And she knew she was being rescued.
We pulled too many guys.
knew
I don't
that
know
she
why we're
was
doing this. They're
in
not
safe
gonna.
hands.
We're never gonna do
Was the
this.
suspect known to the family?
It has not been determined that the suspect was known to the family.
The suspect was arraigned overnight
This
on a
is
charge of
stupid.
first-degree kidnapping. The governor of New York saying they're still looking into the possibility of connections to other cases. NBC News attempted to contact the suspect's attorney, but we haven't heard back.
Hey, I'm doing DPS now. What's the point, though? I know we're
In the
never gonna
neighborhood
kill
where
these
officials say
guys.
Charlotte was found alive and unharmed, today crews seen gathering evidence and residents grateful for some closure after days on alert.
Kathy, could the suspect face more charges?
Guys, I think
Lesser, that is certainly a possibility. The governor of New York saying that this is still an active investigation. The suspect is currently being held at the Saratoga County Jail behind me without bail. Next court appearance is set for October 17th. Lesser?
Kill the banners?
Following
Yeah.
a highway
Get the banners.
disaster
Get the
in
banners.
northeast
Get these
Arkansas
banners
tonight.
in.
A crash involving
I don't know
15
anything about
vehicles.
this, but
Two
like
people
you're
are
right.
dead,
Maybe
and
we
first
should get the
responders
banners.
say thick smoke from
Where
a
are
brush
they?
fire at a
Can you
nearby
see any?
field may have caused
There's one right
poor
there. Good job.
visibility. Here in New York, the judge in the civil fraud
Get these
lawsuit
banners
against
out of
Donald
here.
Trump placed a
Yes, good
gag
job.
order on the former president today. It followed a social media post showing a court clerk. Laura Jarrett has late details.
You see any more banners anywhere?
Tonight, Donald
There's
Trump
a banner
back in a
right there.
Manhattan courtroom for the
There's one
second
over
day
there too,
of
though.
the $250 million civil fraud lawsuit against
Get the
him,
banners.
revealing
guys.
he plans
Honestly,
to take
if
the
we can get the
stand.
banners, maybe. But like,
But it was his comments
like,
on social
seriously, I
media
think we
that
pulled too
prompted a
many. Don't
dramatic
forget to
ruling
get the
from the
banners,
judge
though.
after Mr. Trump posted a
Do you have
photo
any more
of the
banners to
judge's
take
law
down?
clerk posing
I
with top
swear,
Senate
I think we
Democrat
did
Chuck
post
Schumer. The
This is
judge
just too
ordering
many,
the
guys.
post on Truth Social removed, saying personal attacks on any member of my court staff
I don't see
are
how we're gonna do
unacceptable.
this.
Consider
Awesome.
this a
With-
gag order. The
There's a banner.
Republican frontrunner again
Oh, I died.
going after the
I
Democratic
don't care.
Attorney
Just let me
General
die.
who
I
brought
don't want
the
to do this.
lawsuit.
Judge Engoron has been given false and extremely misleading information about my
Yeah,
net
pull
worth.
Les.
Private company, nobody's supposed to know my net worth.
I don't
a
know
net
who
worth
pull
the
like
state
that.
says was
Yeah, pull Les
deliberately
next time.
inflated to get more favorable loan rates from lenders, while Mr. Trump's legal team says real estate valuations are subjective. Attorney General Letitia James also in the courtroom once again, her team calling Mr. Trump's longtime accountant to the witness stand. His firm
In case
preparing the
someone's trolling
disputed
or
financial
accidentally-
statements
oh, shit.
at the heart of the
Run
case.
away, Daniel.
Forced to
Run
admit
away.
today
Fuck that.
he learned the Trump organization didn't provide
Just
the
die to
firm
reset.
with all
Run
of the
away if you
necessary
can.
records.
Run away.
As for
I'm gonna
that gag
die.
order on
Again.
Mr. Trump, the judge saying he's willing
Can
to
I get outta
impose
here?
sanctions if necessary, Lester.
All right, Laura, thank you. Also tonight, the president's son, Hunter Biden, pleading not guilty to federal gun charges at his arraignment in Delaware today. Ryan Nobles now with that story.
Tonight, Hunter Biden back in a Delaware
job,
courthouse.
dude.
The son of a sitting president now facing a criminal trial. Biden pleading not guilty to 3 felony gun charges for allegedly purchasing a handgun
Wait for
while
everyone to
being an
die.
active drug user and lying
Try to
about it on a
teleport back
federal
and see if
form.
they're
His
back or
attorney calling the charges the result of political pressure from President Trump and his
Oh,
MAGA
fuck my
allies
life.
to force the Justice
No.
Department to ignore the law
Just kill
and
me.
deviate from its policies in cases like this one. Special counsel David Weiss filing the charges after his controversial plea deal for the president's son, which would have resulted in no prison time, fell apart under a judge's scrutiny. 2 IRS whistleblowers testified that there was political interference in the DOJ investigation of Hunter Biden, which Weiss denies. If convicted, Hunter Biden facing a sentence of as much as 25 years behind bars, although he's unlikely to serve that much time. And his looming legal problems come as House Republicans step up their impeachment inquiry, hoping to tie Hunter Biden's foreign business dealings to his father.
Whether it was lunches, phone calls,
should be
White
all right.
House meetings, or
Yeah.
official foreign trips, Hunter Biden cashed in by arranging access to Joe Biden, the family brand.
A key GOP witness last week testifying there's not enough evidence for impeachment so far. The president has said he was not involved in his son's work.
And Hunter Biden still faces tax charges that could be handed down by the end of the month in both California and Washington, D.C. Lester?
Ryan Nobles tonight, thank you. In 60 seconds, the big headline today on attempts to lower the price of some of the most popular prescriptions. And a well-known congressman carjacked at gunpoint as Washington faces a surge in violent crime. We're back with a major step towards slashing prescription prices. The Biden administration announcing today that manufacturers have all agreed to new price negotiations with Medicare under a law passed last year. The first 10 drugs selected include widely used blood thinners, diabetes, and rheumatoid arthritis medications. The new prices would not take effect until 2026. And authorities in Washington are searching for 3 armed suspects who carjacked a member of Congress last night as the nation's capital faces a surge in violent crime plaguing some other American cities. Here's Tom Costello.
It happened less than a mile from the Capitol. Texas Democrat Henry Cuellar carjacked as he arrived at his D.C. apartment.
I looked to the left, somebody had a gun. To the right, somebody had a gun. I had a third guy behind me. You got to stay calm.
Police recovered Cuellar's car. They're still looking for 3 masked suspects thought to be teenagers. It's been a year of violence in the nation's capital. 753 carjackings, double last year's number. Overall violent crime up 39%. 216 homicides, more than all of last year, and on track to be the deadliest in 20 years.
My son is dead. My son is dead. My son ain't do nothing to nobody.
I've been living here 31 years. This is the worst I've ever seen around here.
While violent crime is flat or down in New York, Los Angeles, and Philly, it's up 8% in Atlanta, up 27% in Chicago, up 28% in Baltimore. Washington's acting police chief says her department is understaffed and stretched beyond capacity.
The most pressing concern that I've heard from community members is the increase in robberies and carjackings and the fear that this creates.
Representative Cuellar isn't the first member of Congress to be a D.C. crime victim. Minnesota Representative Angie Craig was assaulted at her D.C. apartment. A staff member for Senator Rand Paul survived a stabbing last March. Congress and President Biden this year blocked a D.C. council plan that would have increased penalties for some crimes but lowered them for others, including carjackings. Buster?
Tom, thank you. Coming up, the political minefield in Texas schoolyards, politics, religion, and the students caught in the middle. Next. We're back now with our new NBC News Studios podcast. It's called Grapevine, and it examines the growing influence of politics and religion on schools throughout the lens of a North Texas town. Tonight, one of the co-hosts, Antonia Hilton, has a preview of her highly anticipated series.
It's Anisha Menez's senior year, but she spent less time celebrating making honor society or getting excited about college.
I think we all just feel exhausted.
Instead, she's often worried about politics in her North Texas school district of Grapevine, Colleyville.
In my school, all I can see is people pitted against each other.
Over the course of the last 2 years, school board candidates backed by conservative Christian activists in 3 local districts, Grapevine, Colleyville, Southlake, and Keller, have passed sweeping policies restricting lessons on race, gender, and sexuality, the bathroom use of trans students, and removing hundreds of books. Parents weighing in.
Teachers shouldn't be forced to use your freaking made-up fantasy pronouns.
We're starting their mind with these ideas of gender confusion.
But students at all 3 districts told us they now worry the church is creeping into the state and their schools. How have you seen religion influence your schools?
It's frustrating, strange, and hypocritical to see the "In God We Trust" signs being put up everywhere, while at the same time books are being removed from our library shelves.
On the first day of the Texas legislative session, pastor and North Texas Representative Nate Schatzline led a prayer in the Texas Capitol.
There's nothing more important than
What kind of books are being removed?
than this right here, worshiping and praying in the middle of the Capitol.
During the session, he voted to restrict drag performances and to hire religious chaplains as unlicensed mental health counselors in public schools. He canceled an on-camera interview but agreed to speak to NBC News for the new podcast, Grapevine. What we hear from LGBTQ children right now is that this slate of bills has made them feel less safe in their community. How do you square that with your Christian faith?
I think Christianity is always rooted in truth, and our emotions are always going to tell us things. You know, what we have never done is encourage hatred towards that community.
Do you believe in the fundamental separation of church and state?
I believe that church and state, in the Constitution, what was written about it was written to keep the state out of the church, not to keep the church out of the state.
That sentiment
kind of
drove
agree.
award-winning history teacher Amanda Guthrie away from public education for good.
You made the decision to leave in the middle of the school year. I did. Why not stick it out a few more months?
It felt
Which way?
unsafe. The people that work in that district are hardworking, caring people, but even they have no control over what the school board does or says.
Leaders from all three districts declined to be
DPS.
interviewed.
Which way?
Grapevine Colleyville told NBC News, "We review all feedback and continuously look at how we can better serve and
Do you
support
always
our
agree
employees."
with what Christians
South Lake's
do
Carroll
in
School
politics,
noted,
Daniel?
as
No, I
required
don't.
by Texas law, we have
As a
policies
Christian,
and
I can say
processes
that I don't
respect
always agree
parental
with what
rights and
Christians
appropriately
do.
review curriculum. And Keller ISD saying, "We
They don't
believe that
represent
mutual
me, I
respect
wish I
and
could.
dignity build unity."
As most Christian might agree.
Where the
Mhm.
climate
Phase
is so
Don't let
hostile,
political
it's
Christians
nice to
speak
be
for
able
the
to
whole of
find solace
Christianity.
in just friends you can talk to.
They are proud that these battles
You'd be surprised
to find their voice. Antonio
what
Hilton,
I actually
NBC
believe
News,
versus
Grapevine,
what mainstream
Texas.
Christian.
That's nightly news for this Tuesday. Thanks for watching. I'm Les.
I don't know if you heard what I
Please
said,
take care of yourself and each other. Good night.
I might believe something completely different than what a
Thanks for
political
watching.
Christian
Stay
might
updated
believe.
about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.
People's thought processes go in two different directions sometimes when they read the Bible or believe in certain things.
Tonight, breaking news, the deadly flood disaster in Kentucky. The death toll climbing.
Help,
Torrential
sir.
downpours sparking catastrophic flash floods and mudslides in the eastern part of the state. Streets turning into rivers, the water rushing into homes, residents stranded on roofs, others clinging to trees, multiple people killed.
happened?
The governor joining top story, telling me he expects that death toll to rise to double digits, asking the country to pray for Kentucky. And another dangerous storm taking
Target
aim.
you.
Maggie Vespa
Why me?
from the flood zone tonight.
I know.
Also breaking China's
away from
threat
me,
to
Drew.
President Biden amid escalating tensions with Taiwan. Xi Jinping warning that, quote, those who play with fire will perish by it. How the White House is responding to those harsh words tonight. The president also battling recession fears at home. New data showing the economy shrinking for a second straight
Help, sir.
quarter. A clear sign the U.S. is on the road to a recession or already in one. Developing late today, the firefighter trapped, a burning building collapsing as a Detroit battalion fought
You have
those
to get out of that
flames.
thing.
How they pulled
Oh, really?
together to rescue one of
Didn't
their
seem
own.
like I had to get
Plus,
out.
the
It's
former
okay.
president hosting a tournament for the controversial Saudi-backed golf league at his New Jersey country club. The shocking comments he made about 9/11 as families of the victims protest the event. And good evening. It has already been a summer of severe weather unlike any in recent memory, and tonight, Kentucky is the new target. Hit with one of the most devastating flood disasters in its history. Hours of torrential rain triggering flash floods in the dead of night, many trapped in their home as the water came pouring in. Daylight illuminating the full scope of the damage. You see it right here. The entire town included underwater. Businesses flooded up to their roofs. The streets
I
of
don't think I
downtown
did that.
Whitesburg still a river of rushing water late this afternoon. Rescue teams working by boat and by helicopter
I
to
might
reach
want
the
that,
stranded.
actually,
The governor
because
telling
my
Top
408,
Story
I
moments
can,
ago
upgrade
he
it.
expects the death toll to climb
I might
into
want
the
that,
double
yeah.
digits. That
Oh,
interview
shit.
in just a
Did
few
you just
moments.
lose
The
at
floods triggered by that
93?
same system that
What?
tore through St. Louis last week.
Freedom.
That city hit again tonight. The
Did I
floodwaters
really
rising in
lose?
all too familiar scene.
What?
And we begin our coverage in Kentucky with Maggie Vespa, who's in the storm zone tonight.
In a swath of the South submerged, total devastation, and a death toll expected to climb.
So we got so much road damage. Bridges
Oh,
are
well.
gone. The whole roadway's gone. So it's
The city of Hazard, Kentucky,
what'd I
devastated
get
after
on
torrential
there?
rain spurred sweeping flash floods and mudslides.
You know, everybody knows everybody around here. Everybody tries to help, but when this comes this fast, this ain't nothing you can do.
Officials confirming dire numbers. At least 8 people killed, including an 81-year-old woman. The governor declaring a state of emergency.
We probably have not seen the worst of it. Sadly, we believe that we will lose Kentuckians and a lot of Kentuckians will probably lose most of what they have.
Recovery efforts complicated by the storm's strength, knocking out power to more than 25,000 people and wiping cell coverage throughout the region. In nearby Pound, Virginia, rescuers scour an assisted living facility for the stranded.
Damage like this gives you an idea of just how strong and fast these floodwaters were moving. This is just a roof ripped off and tossed on the side. There's a power pole over here, literally snapped in half. And then look at all of this. This is just debris on the side of the road. I mean, it looks like a tornado hit.
The sinister system wreaking havoc. Repeated rounds of showers and storms pelting eastern Kentucky overnight, dumping rain onto ground already saturated from recent rainfall. The same type of storm that walloped St. Louis earlier this week.
Oh my gosh.
FEMA and the National Guard are on the ground in Kentucky. Judy Butler's home flooding for the second time this year. Round one back in March.
The first time we had insurance, this time we don't, but we'll make it. We always do with God's help.
All right, Maggie Vespa joins us now from the epicenter of that flooding there in Hazard, Kentucky. And Maggie, I understand that destruction we see behind you was actually a church at one point?
Yeah, Tom, it's crazy to think about. So the church was here on its foundation, but now you just see a hole in the ground, right? And then the building, you can see behind me, is in those trees. Like the floodwater just threw it into those trees. It gives you a good idea of just how powerful these floods were and why there is so much damage.
Yeah, we see those cement blocks just behind you. Given that we're getting a clearer look at this damage, does that mean that the floodwaters are starting to recede? I know there's a big concern about more flooding.
Yeah, so they are starting to recede, albeit slowly, because, you know, we were in St. Louis earlier this week, and those receded within hours of kind of the water cresting, and it seemed to happen pretty quickly. Here, it's taking a while, and as you pointed out, people are really scared because there's more rain slated overnight, so a lot of people told us they're praying that this doesn't get even worse. Tom?
All right, Maggie Vespa leading us off with that breaking news tonight from Kentucky. Maggie, thank you. And Kentucky's Governor Andy Beshear, who you heard in Maggie's piece, in the state's history. He joins Top Story tonight from Frankfort, Kentucky. Governor, you said it yourself, this event is devastating. Where do things stand as today draws to a close?
Well, it was a tough night. It's an even tougher day, and this disaster is going to continue at least until tomorrow. We're going to have double-digit deaths by the end of this. We're already over 8. We've already airlifted between 20 and 30 people out of harm's way, but many others on their roofs are even hanging in a tree. So many we can't get to because the water hasn't even crested, and it ultimately is moving too fast to safely get there. We've evacuated a nursing home. We are doing rescues at a school, though there are not any children in it, thank God. So we're supposed to get 2 more inches tonight. It's only going to make a difficult situation worse.
Can't imagine what that's going to be like for the folks in your state. Talk to me about the moment you realized, or maybe the image that you saw when you realized your state was in some serious trouble.
Well, I've been at the Emergency Operations Center from early this morning. Really got the call about 4:45 about how bad this was, and was there shortly after. You get reports in about loss of life, about how high the water has gotten. Local officials sending you photographs. This one is tough. And listen, Eastern Kentucky floods a lot, but never like this. When you have folks that have been on the ground doing rescues for decades, and they say they've never seen anything like it, and they can't get to people, and they're the most experienced folks out there doing it, you know what we're dealing with is, if not unprecedented, close to unprecedented. And you know,
watch your step. What has been the biggest difficulty in trying to reach those people that are trapped?
Well, our roadways are washed out. Some of the current in the water is so strong that our fish and wildlife boats can't get there. That's why we have Zodiac boats being brought in by the National Guard, and some of our cities sending some of their higher-end boats as well. So many people stranded that not enough aircraft with the hoists to get to them, but thankfully getting more. This has just hit so many counties, so many people, incoming. So big. It's left half of one county almost underwater or struggling.
Have you been able to speak personally with the president yet?
I've talked to the White House, and they reached out proactively. I've spoken to the administrator of FEMA. Listen, we're getting as much communication from the White House as we need.
Watch your
Pleased with
step.
their response. FEMA will be on the ground tonight. So we are getting the support from the federal government.
And then finally, what do you have to say to the rest of the country who's watching this, who wants to help the people of Kentucky?
Listen, we are good people, and the areas that have been hit hard. Number one, we need your prayers because this is an ongoing disaster. Number two, these families are going to need your help and your support, not just today, tomorrow, and the next day, which will be the emergency, or the next 2 months, which will be intermediate housing and having enough clothes and school supplies for these kids. But it's going to take a year or more to rebuild. It's that big, and they're going to need your support through all that, too.
Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear, we appreciate your time during this very, very tough time for your state. As we mentioned, the area is bracing for more rain with flood watches in effect there, and in West Virginia as well. Plus, St. Louis hit with another round of flooding, as we said earlier.
incoming.
Let's get right to meteorologist Michelle Grossman. Michelle, walk us through what's happening there.
Watch out.
Hey there, Tom. And we're seeing heavy rain continuing to fall. We're going to see this over the next few days into the weekend. And just to put this in perspective, we had 2 historical rain events in less than a week. And just statistically speaking, we're seeing 1 in 1,000 chances for both events in a given year. So this is historical, and it's groundbreaking, and it's becoming more normal. So taking a look at radar, we're seeing really heavy rain falling. Where you see the brighter colors, the reds, the oranges, the yellow, that's where we're seeing those heavy downpours. Also a little more difficult to see, but in Tennessee, also North Carolina, you see that little orange box. That is a severe thunderstorm warning. So we're going to add that to the mix as we go throughout these overnight hours, and we're going to see severe weather as well. This is what we're expecting in terms of rainfall, locally 6 inches or higher. So we're going to add to saturated grounds. We're going to see continuing flooding, could see continuing flash flooding as well. The flood threat does continue. We're looking at a flood watch. That is in your green for portions of West Virginia, also Kentucky. That includes eastern Kentucky once again, western Virginia, and portions of Tennessee. And we're also looking at a flash flood warning in St. Louis. As you mentioned, we had that complex of storms come through. It sort of renewed that flash flooding. So we're concerned about that as we go throughout the next couple of hours as well. Our flash flood risk through tomorrow, where you see the pink, that is the likeliest spot. So it's the same spots, Charleston, West Virginia, Beckley, West Virginia, also Hazard. Hazard saw 9 inches of rain in less than 12 hours. St. Louis saw 9 inches in 15 hours. So a tremendous amount of water. It's like a sponge that's really wet, and it squeezes out that water. So Tom, we'll end it here with a severe threat as well, 9 million at risk tomorrow.
Okay, I know we're going to be staying tracking it all week. Michelle, thank you for that. Now to another major headline, this one made by former President Trump. His New Jersey golf club hosting that tournament by a Saudi-backed golf league, sparking protest over the Saudi government's alleged ties to 9/11 hijackers and the murder of Jamal Khashoggi. But the former president added fuel to the fire with comments he made to reporters. Gabe Gutierrez was there.
Do you want to do those?
At his golf club in Bedminster, New Jersey, today former President Trump, along with other celebrities, teed off in the Pro-Am for this weekend's controversial tournament. The Saudi-funded Live Golf Invitational Series had already plucked some of the biggest names in golf from the PGA Tour. Now it's sparking new outrage.
This golf tournament is taking place 50 miles from ground zero.
It's disgusting.
Families of those killed on 9/11 are out with this new ad. They say the tournament is insulting, since 15 of the 9/11 hijackers were from Saudi Arabia, and that government has a long history of human rights abuses. Terry Strata lost her husband Tom in the attacks.
The kingdom is throwing billions of dollars into a PR stunt. They are just want to whitewash away the history that they have with the 9/11 community.
Today, former President Trump said he's been friends with Saudi Arabia for a long time, and when asked about the families who are protesting the tournament,
nobody's gotten to the bottom of 9/11, unfortunately, and they should have.
When you heard that, what went through your head?
Well, he sounds like a fool.
The controversy comes after President Biden drew international outrage by traveling to Saudi Arabia, greeting with a fist bump the Saudi leader that U.S. intelligence says ordered the torture and killing of Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi. The Saudi government has long denied it was involved in either Khashoggi's murder or 9/11. Live Golf tells NBC News these families have our deepest sympathy. While some may not agree, they believe golf is a force for good around the world.
All right, Gabe Gutierrez joins us now from Bedminster, New Jersey. President Trump talked to a handful of reporters there today. What else did he have to say besides those comments about 9/11?
Well, Tom, former President Trump used the opportunity to bash the PGA. As you know, Tom, the PGA of America backed out of hosting the PGA Championship here in 2022 and instead moving it to Oklahoma after the January 6th riot. President Trump clearly responding to that today, saying that a lot of players he thought weren't happy with the PGA and said they'd get a big payout from playing in this series, which of course has drawn international outrage. Tom?
Okay, Gabe Gutierrez first from New Jersey. Now to the current White House. Today, China's President Xi Jinping warning President Biden about relations with Taiwan during their 2-hour phone call. Meanwhile, President Biden is trying to calm recession fears as the country is hit with more bad economic news. NBC's Kristen Welker has more.
Tonight, inside the White House, President Biden under growing pressure after another grim economic headline, the economy shrinking for 2 straight quarters.
We're not in a recession.
It's another credibility test for the president on the economy after he declared a year ago that inflation would be temporary.
Most of the price increases we've seen were expected and are expected to be temporary.
Why should Americans take his word for it now when the president got it wrong on the economy a year ago?
When we talk about recession in our history, you see that the thing that happens during a pre-recession is that you lose jobs, and we're not seeing that currently.
And now a new poll shows growing dissatisfaction within the president's own party. 75% of Democrats saying they want someone besides President Biden to be the Democratic nominee in 2024. And new NBC News reporting shows the White House is closely tracking the political activity of at least half a dozen Democrats seen as potential 2024 competitors, according to interviews with more than 24 current and former White House officials, including a charm offensive with those who might be getting too ambitious, hosting Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker and California Governor Gavin Newsom at separate events. Meanwhile, it comes as the president is facing growing tensions with China. Today, he spoke with President Xi for 2.5 hours amid a controversial potential trip to Taiwan by House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. China opposes Taiwan's independence. According to the Chinese, Xi told Mr. Biden, those who play with fire will perish by it.
All right, Kristen Welker joins me now from the White House. Kristen, this is a major international headline. Those words put out there by the Chinese are very provocative. Has the White House confirmed that's what was said?
They haven't yet, Tom. We pressed the White House over and over again, but they just would not confirm whether President Xi made those comments to President Biden. The White House did say the two leaders had a direct and honest conversation about Taiwan. The president also reaffirmed, according to the White House, that U.S. policy toward China has not changed. The U.S. recognizes China as the sole government. And late tonight, we're learning House Speaker Pelosi is traveling to Asia this weekend, but it's still unclear whether she plans to make a stop in Taiwan, Tom.
All right, Kristen, let's turn to politics now. I do want to go back to that piece of NBC News reporting that we saw there in your report. Is the White House afraid that President Joe Biden may possibly get primaried? Essentially, Democrats out there who may challenge the president in the primaries coming up?
Well, they're trying to put on a confident front right now, Tom. The White House basically dismissing any possibility of a primary challenge and saying that seems unlikely. But there are a number of Democrats who appear to be laying the groundwork for 2024 just in case President Biden decides not to run. So much so that Governor Gavin Newsom felt the need to tell Chief of Staff Ron Klain that he isn't planning to run when he made that visit here to the White House, Tom.
Okay, Kristen Welker with a lot of new reporting tonight for us. Kristen, thank you. As Kristen mentioned, new data shows the U.S. economy shrank for the second quarter in a row. So what contributed to that decline? Here's Emily Aketa.
Today's numbers confirm it. The U.S. economy is slowing.
2 back-to-back negative quarters. It's not good.
Gross domestic product fell slightly by 0.9%. The U.S. economy shrinking for the second quarter in a row, fueling fears of a recession. Fears President Biden tried to calm.
We've created 9 million new jobs so far, just since he became president. Businesses are investing in America at record rates. That doesn't sound like a recession to me.
Slowdowns in both the housing market and consumer spending contributed to the decline, but are also part of the Federal Reserve's goal to lessen demand by raising interest rates, all in an effort to bring inflation down from 40-year highs in a complex economy.
This is a very unusual situation in that coming out of the pandemic, we have a set of supply chain challenges that continue to affect the economy.
That reality is being felt firsthand far from Washington in Pella, Iowa.
This particular chipper is missing this one part.
Mark Kaur helps run agricultural and industrial equipment maker Vermeer. The company is a driver of the economy, but ongoing supply chain problems and labor shortages mean Vermeer can't drive as fast as it would like.
There may be 1,000 parts in a machine, but it needs all 1,000. So missing one part means you don't generate revenue as an organization. It doesn't fit into the GDP number.
That's despite the once-in-a-generation high demand the company is seeing for its products, crafted by its 4,000 employees.
But we need more. We need hundreds more to be able to keep up, with demands.
In Pella's nearby town square, a reminder from this mother of three, the economic picture is always personal.
You want to be able to work to provide for your family, but you can't afford to work either because you can't afford daycare. And then with prices going up, it's, paycheck to paycheck.
Just look at all of this inventory behind me. All of it already sold by Vermeer, but can't get to the customers because of labor and supply chain roadblocks. So you can see the contradiction. There's really strong demand, but challenges in meeting it. Tom?
Emily Aketa for us tonight. We thank Emily for that report, of course. As she mentioned, businesses and consumers alike are struggling with the impact of labor and supply chain issues, which drove up inflation. And with positive economic signs like job growth up against a shrinking GDP, it paints a confusing picture about the state of the American economy. I want to bring in Andrew Ross Sorkin. He's the co-anchor of Squawk Box on CNBC, a New York Times columnist, and of course the author of Too Big to Fail. Andrew, first off, thanks for joining Top Story tonight. The economy is based in numbers, right? And you think it's absolute, and yet this feels right now like a mystery. You have the president and Janet Yellen saying we're not in a recession, and yet if you look at economic history books, right, textbooks, they'll tell you 2 consecutive quarters of contraction, that's a recession. So explain it to our viewers as simply as possible.
Okay, this truly is an unusual situation because it looks like a recession from the outside, except for the part when you look at unemployment in this country. And it's very rare where you have 2 quarters of back-to-back negative quarters effectively for growth, and yet you have unemployment at these remarkably low numbers. So in many ways, it doesn't feel like the kind of recession that we've had in years past. And so when you hear politicians say this isn't a recession, or it's not a classic recession, or we shouldn't be using that definition, a little bit of this is politics, but it's also true insofar as it isn't really the same kind of recession as your father's recession.
So Andrew, we've had 2 days of Wall Street with the markets up. And I always like to remind our viewers that the markets tend to predict the future, right? Yep. They don't really predict this moment in time right now. What can we pull from that data, if anything?
So what's so unusual about what's happened even in the last 24 to 48 hours is we've gotten these new numbers that suggest a recession is upon us, and yet the stock market's gone up, and people say, how is this possible? Well, the truth is that the Federal Reserve, by raising interest rates and trying to make things more expensive, are trying to tamp down demand. That is actually creating a negative period of growth in this economy. But that's actually what they were trying to do. Now, interestingly, things have not gone down in terms of the growth in the economy as much as some people had feared, or that things actually weren't going to keep going up. So the Fed may not have to put the brakes on as much as some people had expected come this fall, and that's why you're starting to see the stock market, at least for this moment, and it really is only a moment, go up.
So Andrew, I do want to ask you, because you wrote the book on the 2008 recession. There were a lot of different factors and a much different story. But I wonder, because here on Top Story, we cover the economy a lot, and we always have these headlines, and I call them tea leaves, right? But there are also other headlines we don't cover, like Germans paying way too much for energy, the grain crisis out of Ukraine. I just wonder if there's going to be a day where there's a headline where we're starting to talk about a world that is like 2008 again, or do you think we're nowhere near there?
I don't think that we're near there. I don't think we're going to have a cataclysmic style financial crisis like we saw in 2008. Having said that, I think it's very possible, unfortunately, that it could be a very bumpy year, 2, potentially 3 years, and there's going to be a question about how fast we can grow. We've been living, or at least up until even through the pandemic economically, was almost a sort of Alice in Wonderland situation, almost better than it should have been in many ways. And so there's going to be some kind of pain on the other side, and I think that's what we're seeing. The question is if that's something that's prolonged or if that's something that shifts very, very quickly. And for that, well, I'd have a different job if I knew the answer.
There you go. Andrew Ross Sorkin, we always love having you on Top Story, so we appreciate it. We want to turn now to Capitol Hill. The Senate is getting closer to pushing through a slimmed-down Democratic-backed bill addressing issues like runaway inflation and climate change, with holdout Democrat Joe Manchin saying he struck a deal with party leadership. But as Americans search for relief, what are the chances this bill actually passes? NBC's Ali Vitale has more.
After a year of no, Democratic Senator Joe Manchin now explaining how he got to yes on a defining package of legislation for Democrats.
I never reversed and I never walked away.
Just 2 weeks ago, Manchin pumped the brakes on talks, citing soaring inflation.
I just said we got to get this thing down to where it's something that we can live with and we do what we have to do.
Democrats and President Biden now rallying around it.
Some of you will see a lot of similarities between the beginning.
Okay, I'm gonna get going. I'm sorry.